Two rambling idiots diving deep into nerdy nights. Nerdy nights. Opening bottle after bottle of rum that feels just right. Feels just right. Talking Legos, movie, theme parks, and streaming TV shows. It's the Rum and Nerdy podcast, so come hang with your bros. Rum, nerdy, grab an ice cube, splash in some Coke. Top it with rum aged in barrels of oak. Greg and Garrick are letting the spirits flow. The Rum and Nerdy podcast is ready to go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Rum and Nerdy. I'm Greg.
And I'm Garrick.
And this is episode 6.25.
Impressions of Nerd.
And we'll explain that later, but we want to welcome our guest today, Mr. Bob Rogers of BRC. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
Hey, we joked around about it. It was funny when we got the email from you last week, and circumstantial because we were going to be here in L.A., and it was like, hi, I don't know if you know me. My name is Bob Rogers from BRC. And I was like, well, of course we know who you are. But it's great to be here. And I know we're going to talk about your book a little bit, but first we want to talk about you. But thanks for hosting us here at the office, and you had a lunch brought in for us, so thank you.
Well, it's fun having you. This is exciting, and for your listeners, as these guys walked in, several of our people recognized that we had stars in the building.
I don't know about
that. Now we're in the same building with iHeartRadio, so we get rock stars here all the time. We had Snoop Dogg was in the downstairs lobby of this place last week, but now we have real stars.
That's right.
We have Rum and Dirty
Did
here.
I tell you the one time I shared a lobby with Snoop Dogg?
I mean, not at the same time, but certainly adjacent within a period of time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, just because I know we talked while we were eating, and we've got so much good information to talk about. I think let's rewind and start at the beginning, because you started at Disney and you did a lot of great things. But I think we also want to talk about a very famous quote of yours, is that you were fired 3 times.
Oh yeah.
And so we'll go through that. But how'd you get into this?
When I was young, I wanted to be 2 things. I wanted to be a professional magician, and I also wanted to be a filmmaker. And I found out rather quickly that filmmaker pays, even an unemployed filmmaker makes more than a fully employed magician. So it was in my senior year at high school. At the end of my senior year, I applied for work at Disneyland. And great summer job, Disneyland. And when I applied, the HR person interviewing me says, do you have any special skills? So, well, I'm a magician. She says, oh, here, take this note over to so-and-so, and I'm escorted over to this little warehouse type thing behind Main Street. And there's this little man that with no sense of humor or smile or anything says, oh, you say you're a magician? Okay, here, do this one. And he hands me a Svengali deck. And I know what I'm dealing with. So I give him do a trick with a Svengali deck. He hands me cups and balls and says, do this one. It's a couple more after that, and he says, here, take this note over to wardrobe. And I think to myself, I think I got the part. I'm not sure they would give me a costume if I didn't. And I was thrilled because as a young magician, this would give me access to the back room where I could look through all of the advanced magic and find out how it all worked without having to buy it first. There was just one trouble, and that was there was no advanced magic in the Disneyland magic shop. We were selling the same stupid 12 tricks that are sold in every joke shop in the world. But I learned a tremendous amount that summer, and I've really based an entire career on what I learned that summer. And I think that's one of the things that I write about in the book, Deep Story.
Yeah, it was really your connection with guests or learning the connection with people, I believe.
It was, and it was. I learned several things. The first of which was, it's about them. It's not about you. One of the bad things about working in the magic shop is that any guest could buy the trick for $1, go around the corner, read the instructions, and then come back and expose and humiliate me in front of the next group.
Ooh.
And I was complaining about that to Harold, one of the senior magicians in the shop. And he said, well, of course they could expose you. That's the only role you've given them. So it's your performance that's making them do that. I said, what are you talking about? I said, well, you're trying to just amaze them, and you're not giving them a role to play. The only role you're giving them is exposer, and so they're playing the role you gave them. And he said, and this is anybody listening to this, write this next thing down, because it's one of the most incredible things I learned that summer in the magic shop. Harold says, Bob, this is not the magic temple. It's the magic shop. People don't come here to find out how and admire how magical you are. They come here hoping that you will help them find some magic in themselves. That is gold. That is the heart of all hospitality.
Yeah.
That's the heart of all salesmanship. That's the heart of all good entertainment. When we go to see a singer, songwriter that really moves us, they're not singing to amuse themselves. They're not singing to us. They are singing for us. The themes and the things they're doing are things that express something that we feel strongly in ourselves. Mm-hmm. This was one of the many things that I learned that summer in the magic shop that has really sustained my career. And although it was disappointing that there was no advanced magic in the back room, I did get a chance to witness some real advanced magic. And it wasn't in the shop at all. It was outside the shop. I was inside a magic trick. All of Disneyland was a huge magic trick, and it wasn't a magic trick that you were looking at on a stage framed by a proscenium, and it wasn't a magic box that you were looking into. It was something that you were inside of that was turning you into somebody else and giving you feelings that you would not have anywhere else. And I was fascinated by that, absolutely fascinated. So what I ended up doing was I wangled and got Saturday and Sunday off. Those were my days off, believe it or not, for a seasonal employee. And then I would call into the park and say, I'm qualified to operate any cash register in the park because I'm in retail.
Yep.
I'll work anywhere except the magic shop if you need an extra hand. So I would come in and then I would prowl around where I wasn't supposed to be. Because when you think about it, what is it how does Disneyland work? What are some of the things most people don't even think about this, but somewhere on this property, there has to be a shop that maintains 19th century steam locomotives. Mm-hmm. What does that look like? How is it? This was 1968. We have not yet been to the moon. So there are no computers. So how do all the pirates and all the dolls in Small World, how do those sing in sync? How does that happen? There are no computers. Turns out I walked around the backside of Pirates, found a half-open door with a little portable fan keeping somebody cool, pushed the door open, and there's this old guy reading an out-of-date copy of Variety. And I said, he says, who are you? What do you want? Oh, I'm a magician in the magic shop. Can you explain to me how this works? And it was better than the out-of-date Variety, so he invites me and he explains it to me. That thing was running, what was running it was the most elaborate cuckoo clock ever invented. If you've ever seen the system that ran those things before there were computers, oh my God, it's just amazing. Or here's another one. When a juggler is juggling, all those balls are in the air. And when he stops juggling, the balls have to go someplace. Okay, so hold that thought in your mind. The water in Pirates of the Caribbean, the bottom level's full, and the waterfalls are full of water rushing toward the bottom. But as long as they keep the pumps running, everything's fine. But at night when they turn the pumps off, why does the bottom level not flood? There were horse cars in those days, and the horse barn was out behind It's a Small World. How do the horses get from Main Street to the back end of Fantasyland without leaving evidence of their passage in Fantasyland? There were all these questions that I wanted to know. How does somebody know how many hamburger buns they're going to need next Wednesday? Because they have to be ordered now.
Three hamburger buns.
Where does the cash go at night? This was kind of not that many credit cards then, a lot of cash.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of cash. Where does it go at night? There's got to be a whole system set up to deal with that. So I was just curious about all those things. So when I got to the end of my summer run and I was checking out, and I told them I would like to come back maybe at Christmas time to work for them, they said, nope. We have detected behavior that's not the kind of thing we expect from magicians. And so we're placing on your file, we're going to classify you as no rehire. Now,
Because you were curious?
because I was curious. They should have put me in management training,
Yeah.
right?
I was about to say, that's a master class in theme park operations.
Absolutely. But he finishes this up by saying, now, just in case you've heard we're building something in Florida, and just in case you decide to get clever and go to Florida and try to apply for work there, we got a brand new thing in this company called a computer. And we're going to put your name in this here computer. And when they type your name into it in any part of this company ever, your name's going to come up no rehire. So don't you even think about trying it. In other words, I was devastated. Wow, I was never going to ever be able to work for Disney ever again. The second time I was fired by Disney was just 4 years later.
Under the meme, Rob Stodgers.
Almost. I was writing feature screenplays at the Disney Studios, and among other things, they weren't giving me that much to do. I was able to do it in everything they needed in about 5 or 6 hours a day. So I would spend my spare time walking around the studio, poking my nose where I didn't belong. Walking around. The Zorro set was still standing in those days. One time I went down, I was on my way out to a luncheon appointment. I was carrying my briefcase, and I said, I've got a couple extra minutes here. I went by the morgue, the art morgue.
Oh.
Where all of the art that, from past cells, past background paintings and things like that. And as I walk up to the morgue just before lunch, the door is propped open with a ceramic block.
This feels like a reoccurring problem.
And there's a note on the door that says, I'll be back at 1:15. It's now 11:45. Briefcase in hand, I walk into the art morgue, and there are backgrounds from Snow White. There are cells from Lady and the Tramp. There's,
Wow.
There's the podium composer's copy of the score to Fantasia. With the conductor's notes in the margins. I look around. I didn't take anything, but just the same, I sure had the opportunity. I think, well, it belongs here. It doesn't belong. What am I going to do with it?
Certainly wish the cell phone camera existed at the time.
Well, it's anyway. It's just they've tightened up their security just a bit since then. But
thanks to Rob Stodgers.
Right. No, I was under my regular name. So, but that was that was a great summer. But then I also was poking around because I wanted to meet people. There was people on the lot like Bill Anderson, the guy that created Old Yeller, if anybody remembers that, and Swiss Family Robinson. He was still working there. So was Bill Walsh, the guy that created Mary Poppins, Love Bug, the Mickey Mouse Club. Davy Crockett, all those things. So I walked around and kind of would barge into their office and kind of ask their advice and stuff like that. On my last day, the head of junior guy in the story department, took time to escort me out, and his final words of encouragement to me as he said goodbye was, "People like you are why we have guards at the gate." So that was two. And the third time I was a producer of films at WDI. I had finished up my work on the France show, and that was the golden firing of all time.
And that is the reference back to the name of the episode, which was Impressions of France.
Impressions of Nerd, I think you said.
Yeah.
Impressions of Nerd, yeah.
But the show, I mean, that's a really big movie at Epcot.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Impressions de France is the 5-screen Circle Vision film that opened on October 1st, 1982 with Epcot and has been playing multiple times every day in the same theater now for 43 years and 6 months and some odd number of days and hours, completely unchanged. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest running film of any kind, any length, any style, running multiple times every day in the same theater for all that time with no revisions to the film. Other things have run that long, but they keep the same title, but then change the show. It's exactly the same as the day that opened.
That's
they've
impressive.
digitized it. That's about all that they've done. That's all they've done. But I was the writer on that show and one of the two producers. The other producer was the director, Rick Harper.
That name sounds familiar too.
He's done a number of things. He's kind of he figured out that it was more fun to move to Carmel and do fine art, which but so he did that. He did a number of films for Disney in the 80s.
Interesting. So I want to finish up the story about your third time.
The third time.
Yeah.
The France film, we were at the point where we'd done all the ground shooting,
Yep.
and we were just doing the helicopter shooting. No drones in those days. You had to go up with a helicopter. The camera weighed 450 pounds, fully loaded. It's a Circle Vision camera.
Okay. So it's running like 5 reels at the same time.
Five Mitchell cameras pointing upwards into a series of mirrors, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, And so what kills helicopter pilots and their directors are the words slower and lower, because the director always wants you to go slower and lower. So your courage of the pilot, how close to fly to all those rocks, depends on the weight to lift ratio.
Yeah.
And so they were doing everything to improve the weight to lift ratio. One of them, though, is that the producer isn't allowed in the helicopter.
Yeah.
So I was grounded. The other thing they had, the pilot would go up with only 1/8 of a tank of gas. That's sporty.
Yeah.
To save weight. And finally, he had this clever red lever at his elbow, which if he got into trouble, he could pull that lever and would get an instant extra 450 pounds of net lift. Of course, that would be a wrap.
Yeah.
Because there was only one more of those cameras, and it was busy shooting a Circle Vision film in China.
This film production just turned into a bombing run.
Exactly. Well, it would have wound up the camera would have wound up embedded in some glacier somewhere near, in the French Alps. But that was, so anyway, I got a call from Marty Sklar. It said, how'd you like to give up Paris and instead go to Detroit? I said, Marty, it's January. He said, yeah, but here's the deal. General Motors needs some help with their pavilion. I don't have anybody. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I came up with you. So
That's a very nice thing to say.
yeah, well, he said it much more diplomatically, but I figured it out. He said, the one problem is this. If you fall down, we've got nobody behind you because we're out of people. So you can't do this as an employee of Disney. You'll have to start your own company. There are worse ways to start a company than having the world's largest corporation as your client, doing a prestige project that'll appear in a Disney park.
Yeah, you have to start your own company now because there was this magic shop incident back in the '60s, and your name's on this computer. We just can't bring it back.
I keep getting fired, but the only way I'm not going to get fired is I need to be the boss. So anyway, so that's the crazy story is that Marty Sklar, actually, the guy that was head of the creative side of Walt Disney Imagineering, he actually started our company for us and just plain handed it to us.
That's
BRC.
That's awesome.
A Marty Sklar joint.
Joint venture, yeah. Well, being at the bottom of Marty Sklar's Rolodex is still not a bad place to be.
That's true.
And it was a Rolodex in those days.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well,
kids, make sure you tune in next week when we explain what a Rolodex is.
Yeah, really. Just to put a bow on that film, because there were some really funny anecdotes you had about the production
we were talking
of
about
that movie.
this before we started the recording, but if any of your listeners or viewers go out to and end up seeing the film still plays multiple times every day. It plays in the morning, and it plays in the evening just after the dinner hour.
I'm going next week.
And in between, they do in that same theater, they do the Beauty and the Beast sing-along.
Yep.
But if you go to see it, just a lot of the scenes, it's the crew. Because as good a budget as we did have, we were still filling in ourselves with the crew. If you see, there's one scene in particular, there's a beautiful rooftop restaurant overlooking the beach at Cannes. Mm-hmm. And most people, I've been asked, where is that? Because I've looked for it. I'd love to go eat there. And there was no such restaurant, so we created it. We went up on a rooftop and put tablecloths over the air conditioning units.
I love that.
And brought in umbrellas and chairs and everything else and created a restaurant where none existed. It's all fake. The extras were anybody we could hire who looked like they owned some nice clothing. And my wife and I can be seen off to the left. When I went to see it recently with my grandchildren, they were flabbergasted to see movies of grandma and granddad younger than their own current mother, and at that point childless. So that's kind of a fun one. And there's another scene where my wife is in. There's a bunch of people bicycling their way through France, and this is what it was. Everything about that film was designed for the people that might want to take a vacation in France. So we're not showing the Tour de France, which would have dated very quickly because the uniforms and the bicycle equipment, those things all change all the time.
You're not going to set any world records with that kind of content.
No, but instead we just wanted it to look like a bunch of people on vacation, borrowed a bunch of mismatched bikes from behind the country inn and just went for a ride. And the director at that point was going too fast. I was directing the camera car to go too fast and then yelling at the bicycle riders, which included all of our crew, our two location managers, a couple of grips, an electrician, and my wife, last place, pedaling like mad down a hill. It was going dangerously fast. Ooh. But they look like they're having a great time, and in fact, they're all terrified.
These people are no way scared.
Yeah.
So the project that brought you back to, you said it was Detroit? That was one of
Let me tell you one more.
Okay, please.
Just one more.
Please.
There's a shot that I directed that was the camera is placed on top of one of the elevators in the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
And as we start up, we rig up the camera. And as we start up the first time, we're on a walkie-talkie with the guy with the controls. And as we start up, we suddenly realize that a thing we thought was fixed on top of that elevator is actually part of a gimbal that the elevator is resting in, because the leg of the Eiffel Tower changes angles as it goes up.
Yep.
And so I get on the radio and I say, Antoine, there's the piece that we were sitting on behind the camera. That seems to be moving toward the camera. How far does it go? Because we're kind of worried it's going to push us and the camera off the front edge of the elevator, and there's nothing to stop us. So, Antoine, because somebody knows how far this goes? Hello, Antoine. Antoine, can you hear me?
Oh, no.
Antoine, if you can hear me, stop the elevator now. Twang. One of our pieces of piano wire that was holding everything together is now broken. Oh. Now there's nothing to keep the camera from, tip pitching is just balanced there. And, so we're yelling at the radio. There's just no answer at all. Finally, the thing stops moving and we survive. But that was interesting. So next time you see it, as you're riding that elevator up, just imagine that there's a whole crew of terrified people standing right behind it, that camera, hoping that the camera survives, and oh, by the way, hoping they survive also.
And that's the scene. That's in the film.
Of course it is. We weren't going to do that again.
Cut, print, check the gate, moving on.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, cut, print, check 5 gates.
Fair.
Well, I was going to say you mentioned Pavilion. That's one of the World Expo pavilions, and just kind of glancing over your resume here, you've done 20 plus World Expo.
Something like that. I think we kind of lost count. The first expo we did was the 1986 World's Fair. We did shows in 3 different pavilions, one of which the film was nominated for an Oscar, which is very, very unusual for a film in our business.
Was that one of your
that was
Oscar nominations?
Rainbow War. That was one of 2 Oscar nominations. The most recent World's Fair we did was just this last summer. The World's Fair in Osaka. We did the U.S. Pavilion for the U.S. Pavilion in Osaka in Expo 2025.
Nice.
So we've done quite a few of those.
That's absolutely fantastic. Now, you were briefly touched on awards. As we walked in here, there's a variety of Thea awards up at the front of, and there's some of like the originals, the old. The Mace looking awards, the ones that
I call those the sit on this and rotate award.
Oh no!
It definitely looks like one of those sharp objects that could be.
It looks like a martial arts weapon.
Yeah, it's definitely like not OSHA compliant award.
No.
They switched to the smooth acrylic style for legal reasons,
and then they changed it again towards like round off those corners. Okay,
they just keep making them less sharp. Of all your Thea Award-winning projects, are there any that stand out in your mind? And I know looking back at such a long career of just amazing work.
Well, they all stand out in our minds because we were so fortunate and happy to get be honored have the project honored by a Thea Award. And the ones that really stand out are the ones that should have gotten an award but didn't. God damn it!
Or Ooh, okay. Do you have a number one project that you wish that you're burned or you feel slighted that it wasn't awarded, it wasn't given its due?
No. You always feel that when you finish something, you always feel that you deserved it. I know I'm on the Thea judging committee, and what's interesting about that is that the minute they start to discuss anything that you've had anything to do with slightly, you must leave the room or get off the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
So as a result, when you win one, you don't know why. And when you don't win one, you don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just a total mystery, and it's got to be that way. Otherwise, nobody would give a damn about the award.
Greg and I have both served on the International Board of Directors, so even when we get to the approve this year's Thea slate, same thing. You have to leave the room.
To accept the nomination from the committee. And I do appreciate, because it's not just in those awards when you're having a conversation about the Masters or selection of things during various conferences. Or I'm
very I'm very proud of the organization to make sure that they really dot the I's and cross the T's on trying to make sure that things don't cross
It's
those
rigorous.
lines. Yeah.
It's rigorous and it's tough. The getting from 250 suggested, people that file for it,
Sure.
getting from there to 65, 75 is fairly easy. Getting from 65 to 35 is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Getting from 35 to 35, you start to have blood on the floor.
Yeah.
Getting from 30 down to 22, there's blood, bone, and everything else on the floor. And then, of course, the people producing the show say, unless you're issuing pillows and cots, you've got to get it down to 18. And so there are always shows that really, really, really deserve a Thea Award that don't get one, because you've got to get it down to something that's fairly manageable list. But that's exactly why it's worth having one.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
when you get one, and you don't get one, it's the achievement. That's what's one of the things that's really different. I've been nominated for Oscars twice without effect. Each time somebody else's name was in the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
Each time the person who got the award was sitting immediately next to me. Each time the person who got the award stepped on my foot real good, fighting their way to the aisle. Each time it was awarded about 30 minutes into the Oscar program. So about an hour into the 3-hour program, they come back and they sit next to me with the damn thing in their lap. So that was a character building opportunity. And when we set up the Thea Awards, it took a real lesson from that. The owner does not get the award. The owner collects the award on behalf of the complete team that created it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's the achievement that's getting the award, not any individual and not any particular company. And that makes it really different. So if you carried coffee for the people that were doing the design work, you are just as much a winner as the creative lead. Mm-hmm. So that's a really important distinction that a lot of people don't realize about the Thea Awards.
And with that perspective, I want to bring up, because one of the things that I want to ask about when I looked at, your initial email, you'd kind of stated a couple of things, but also just overall, when you look at your career, you also were involved with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Oh, yeah. I've been a member for maybe 30 years, voted in because of the nominations, because I began my career as a filmmaker and a magician.
Well, is that like a consolation prize if somebody steps on your foot when they're accepting theirs?
No, you still have to be voted in. You can't apply. You have to be voted in. And then a few years ago, I was fortunate to be elected onto their board of directors. It's called the Board of Governors, but it's essentially the Board of Directors, which was kind of fun to be sitting in the same room with people like Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy, and sort of you would expect that this assembly of egos would make for a witch's brew of indecision. Quite the opposite. It was amazing how cordial and nice and wonderful all these people were to work with.
I love
it.
hearing
Was
that.
absolutely, It was absolutely, Tom Hanks especially. He just whatever we need to do to help the Academy, whatever we need to do to reach a decision here, how do we help each other?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. They're really, it's amazing how, at least on the boardroom level, the board of directors brings out the Academy's best. They're all there to serve.
How long is that something that when you get elected on, you do a term or a series of terms, or does that get voted on over time? Or
at that time, a term was 3 years, so I did my 3 years, and then I had the option of running again. Everybody said I would be reelected, but things were getting really busy at BRC, So I said it was wonderful that I did this. You know what? It isn't. There, you don't get paid anything. You don't even get reimbursed your expenses. But
Kind
you
of like
do,
the DEA.
kinda like, but you do get the real prize is you do get 2 tickets to the Oscars, and they're always going to be in the first 6 or 7 rows. So in the evening of the wrong envelope, I was in row 7.
Oh, wow.
And I had my picture taken. You know, I was in one of those pictures
Yeah.
in one of the, I forget, it was People magazine or something.
Yeah.
And yep, you can make me out. I'm sitting there going, is this the beginning of a terrorist attack here? What is exactly going on?
Oh my
I was sitting there calmly watching it and saying, you know, what's going on here? And
This is
but
not
that
accurate.
was a, you know, I picked a good one to go to.
Wow. That's
That's
amazing.
fantastic.
They have term limits now. I'm still eligible for one more term if I ever get considered again.
That'd be a dream. You know, and so we didn't talk about earlier. Well, actually, both of us, we work in media a little bit as well. We executive produced a TV show, and we have our own company that produces mostly. We developed some concepts for a few narrative, scripted, historical based shows.
Have you
but
done a show on yourselves yet?
No, just this one.
Why don't you do one where you interview each other? I think this would be
So
this would be a marvelous idea. I think your listeners, attention listeners, write to these guys, tell them they need to do this.
At show@rumandnerdy.com. We talked about that on the way over here because Garrick had sent me on because he flew in this morning to Los Angeles. I picked him up at the airport. We swung by our LA office and then came here. And on the way from the office here, he was reading me stuff off of your Wikipedia page. And I'm like, dude's got a Wikipedia page. Like, I want a Wikipedia. So I think we've committed to sometime in the next few weeks, we're going to write each other's Wikipedia page, but intentionally do it wrong.
Intentionally do it wrong.
Greg is actually a family of raccoons wearing an overcoat.
Good, excellent disguise.
His family, his mom was a pickle, and his father was a trash can full of broken glass.
Well, you try
Not
that
nearly
with
as old.
Wikipedia, and you let me know how it goes.
Well,
Hey, anything can be a smoke machine if you use it wrong enough.
Yeah.
there is of all the awards, there is one that I wanted to ask you about.
Oh, yeah.
The NASA Public Service Medal.
Yeah, that kind of one of these things is different from all the others. Isn't
Yes,
it?
I mean, themed entertainment and film and media. Like I can see how all that comes together. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
Is that what that stands for?
This is a fantastic story.
Well, because we've done quite a number of things for NASA, and because we're very good at branding, and we've done some really great stuff where we've gone in and figured out how people should be talking about themselves, how major corporations or brands or even museums should be talking about themselves, what the themes are that they should be emphasizing. And some of our visitor centers that we've done for NASA, when we started working with NASA, we would ask the scientists and engineers who work there, what's special about NASA? Why should we keep doing it? And they wanted to talk about spin-offs. Spin-offs are those technologies that get developed as part of going to the moon or whatever that cause there to be all kinds of benefits to humankind that have nothing to do with going to the moon. And things that have come out of NASA include computers and satellites and satellite imagery and
Tang.
Tang and Velcro. And also, the navigation systems that we all take for granted in our cars. And the trouble with all that is it's everyday stuff, and as life-changing as it was to go from not having it to having it, it's boring. Mm-hmm. So we told them we're going to just ignore all that. We're not going to emphasize the features and benefits of going to space. we're going to emphasize the adventure. Adventure's the key word. And initially, the NASA people didn't like that, thought that we were trivializing the important work that they do. And today, that's what they're all talking about. Today, they're much more likely to be open to adventure. And one of the people I worked with, a guy by the name of Mark Craig, eventually kind of leveraging what we had started, convinced NASA to put the search for life off of Earth, extraterrestrial life, the search for that, to put that in the NASA mission statement, which they had just, the engineers didn't want, but eventually they got it in. So I think it's currently out, but it's not out of their minds. It's not out of their. So anyway, we've done a lot of things like that. So I got put on a number of committees that were designing the early missions to Mars, and on a good day, I would have some idea what the hell everybody else was talking about. Are they talking about a navigation system, or are they talking about a landing strut? Maybe if I just shut up and pretend I'm smart, and maybe I can catch on if they just keep talking about it long enough. But I was there to kind of talk to them about how engineers need to talk to the American public about what they're doing to bring it down. Probably the most interesting and telling committee that I worked on was a committee right at the beginning of what eventually became the Aramis program that just recently flew. It was a committee of graybeards. They called it the Graybeard Committee. And it was a whole bunch of retired people from NASA that had worked in the Apollo program. And these people, the experienced people, the hardened, the twisted and bitter and experienced people, who they were going to sitting in judge of the young whippersnappers who were doing the beginnings of the thinking of the new program. And as somebody in one of the graybeards said, everything works in PowerPoint. The question is it going to work in flight?
I'm 100%
Those are two completely different
quote.
things.
Yeah.
And so I went to the first meeting of this, and there were 25 people. I was number 25. And I'm looking around the room going, what in the hell am I doing in this room? I'm not qualified to be here. I'm looking around the room, and there's Neil Armstrong, there's John Young, there's Gene Cernan, three guys who stood on the moon. Yeah. There's Dr. Chris Kraft, the guy who had invented mission control. There's Gene Kranz, the guy that always wore a vest during the Apollo program. There's Aaron Cohen, who was the chief engineer in charge of the development of the space shuttle, going, what am I doing in this room? How is it I got there? So anyway, all the PowerPoint kids each make their presentation of what they're going to do and why they're going to do it, and then the old guys go around the room. And I can figure out right away, I'm sitting down here at the end, I will be number 25 out of 25. And each of them has a different, very, very hard, very, very voice of experience kind of suggestion about what to do to improve the plan. And by the time they get around to number 20, everybody's starting out and say, well, somebody's already said what I was going to say, but I might add this, blah, blah, blah. And they get around to me. My contribution was, listen, all this engineering stuff is important, but if you'd better be thinking about why we're going back to the moon, because if you don't have an answer for the American public that tells us why we're going to the moon and why we need to go back once we've gone, there won't be a second mission. You'll get Apollo 18 syndrome. Yeah. Do you remember Apollo 18? You don't, do you? Because we stopped at 17. Apollo 18 is in the Apollo Saturn V Center, their lander and their Saturn V rocket. are museum pieces. Those are that's flight hardware that never flew.
Yep.
Anyway, so they were all kind of quiet at my suggestion, and I was not invited to any of the other meetings of the Graybeards. So I guess they figured out the same thing I figured out, that namely that I didn't belong in that room. But that was fantastic, just to sit in that room and listen to them.
One of the things that I love most about that story is, you're such an amazing person in our industry. You've received the Themed Entertainment Association's Buzz Price Award, Lifetime Achievement Award. And you are sitting in a room feeling like you don't belong. Like that's
well, in a room when I had a room that had Buzz Price and Marty Sklar, and George Millay and people like that, and I felt like I almost sort of knew why I was there. But then that room, that was.
Yeah, but I think the important thing here is, and hearing the stories that you've told today, think about it in terms of how many rooms have you been in? Whether you belong there or not, you got into the room, and it wasn't for nothing. You're in a room for an Oscar committee. You're in a room for NASA. You're in a room for the Thea committee. Every room that you've been in, you were there for a reason. You were invited there for a reason.
In the room where it happens, yes.
Yeah.
I see where you went with that. I want to make sure.
That got him shot eventually.
Yes.
Yeah, fair.
1, 2, 3, 4. I want to make sure because we've been talking for a long time, and I don't want to run out of time. When you reached out to us, one of the things that you wanted to talk about was the book that you've written.
Yeah. After all these years, one of the things that I'm eternally grateful for, when I first started my career, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about the business. I hadn't done anything to be deserving of being in the room, so to speak. And people, giants of the industry, people like Don Iwerks and Buzz Price and Marty Sklar, they had faith in me when there was no damn reason to have any faith in me. Marty Sklar put me on a flight to go make that France movie, flying to a continent I'd never been on, to go to a country I'd never been to make a film in a filmmaking culture that I did not understand, using a currency that I had never spent before. Et cetera, and spending a budget of $2.75 million. That's not much by today's standards, but at the time that seemed like a lot of money, especially when my previous biggest film budget was $57,000. So why on earth, what did he see in me that I certainly didn't see, but he caused me to see it? And when I think about that, it's too late now to repay Marty or Buzz or so many of the people that helped me. It's too late to repay them, but I can pay it forward. So I've taken all the secrets, all the methodologies, all the things that we've been using to make BRC really, really prosper and really have an edge. We've been for 45 years, we've been creating magic with heart is sort of the catchphrase that we use for it. But we've been very lucky. We've done a lot of great stuff, and I've sort of codified all that, turned it into a really good kit of parts, kit of tools, and it's called Deep Story. And it will shortly be, if it isn't already, it'll be out where you can buy it. And I really think it's going to help people. And it probably will. People ask me why would I do this? Isn't this going to be weaponized and used against BRC? Because we're giving away all our secrets. And I said, well, then so be it. If they've got the self-discipline, because it does take rigor to execute this. If they've got, I'm willing to share the secrets. So that's what Deep Story is all about. It's people who have read it say that it's a master class in themed experience storytelling and a master class in writing, for that matter. I don't know that, I like hearing that. I'm not sure I would have said it if some other people hadn't all told me that was true. So I hope that the people listening to this who aspire to do what I've been doing or something like it, I hope they get it, and I hope they learn a bunch of stuff from it, and I hope they become even more awesome competitors in this marketplace, and that it gives them a competitive edge.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And just so the listeners know, if you go to bobrogers.com or deep-story.com, it'll take you to the website, and it's available for pre-order now. I believe it ships in September.
September 8th, yes.
Outstanding.
Absolutely. And I'll be at IAPA. If you want to buy one there, we can sign it for you.
I'd definitely be part of that.
Oh, absolutely. I know what I'm bringing to the floor now.
Yeah. Is it a heavy book? Because I might just arrange to have you sign, because I got to carry that book.
I know that Dave Hemsath, the bookseller that works IAPA, I can ask him to mail it to you. He'll buy it. I'll sign it, and he'll put it in an envelope and mail it to you.
There you go. Oh, I appreciate it. I know we're running long, and forgive me for saying that. Or, well, not we're running long yet, but we're trending like we're going to do that. And I have to say, I don't care. This is a great conversation. And we talked about a couple things, and if you're okay with that, I kind of want to not let up, because some of what you were talking about when you look at Marty or Don or some of them that looked at you and had trust. You told us a really wonderful story about succession planning, and over the last year, I've kind of looked. I've spent a lot of time over the last year, specifically looking inside myself for my own mental health and the things that I struggle with. So my own, quite honestly, self-doubt in a lot of the things that I do. And hearing you talk today, either what we've recorded or beforehand when we were having lunch, it stuck with me having the conversations about succession planning and the changes that have recently been enacted here with BRC and the announcements that you made, specifically with succession planning. And you told a really great story. And I think specifically, if we can tell the listeners about that, but when you talk about the people that looked at you and saw something and why you were in the room, what about the people that you've inspired or that you've mentored and the people that you brought along who've now you're handed the control of the company off to?
Handed them control and the keys and the ownership and everything else. I had a CFO 25 years ago who was haranguing me about setting up a succession plan. And I didn't want to hear about it because I just figured I wasn't ready to think about my own eventual exit from the scene. In those days, if people asked me what was my exit plan, I would answer, it involves a box. He was just bothering me, and the two of us were stuck in London. We were on a project there, and it was a 2-week project, and we were stuck for a weekend, and he just couldn't talk about anything but the succession plan. So finally he said, listen, you're obviously not in the mood for this. We need to take a break. Let's go see a show or something. So he says, I said, sure, you pick it. He looks up and he says, hey, they're doing a Shakespeare revival at the Old Globe Theatre here in London. That would be special. Let's go see a Shakespearean play. About halfway through King Lear, he leans over to me and says, this really was not the show to go take you to see right now, was it? No, it wasn't. For those who aren't up on their Shakespeare, King Lear involves a succession plan that goes horribly wrong. So as a
Unlike
result,
the TV
nothing
show
happened
Succession.
on the succession plan for at least 5 years. But then my CFO, the guy that was had been talking to me about that, he developed a fatal disease and died relatively suddenly. And I started thinking, succession plan. Yeah, I probably owe it to the people, because when you have a successful career, you look around and you discover it really wasn't you. It was all the great team of people that you managed to gather around you, and they were the wind beneath your wings, or maybe sometimes they were your wings also.
Yeah.
And you really owe it to them to have a plan so that when the time either comes naturally or overtakes you, it doesn't create a total, downward spiral crisis thing. So I got very serious about it about 12 years ago. Had a plan worked out about 7 years ago. Started implementing it. For the last 3 years, the 4 people who now own the company have been essentially running the company without much input from me for the last 3 years. Now, between them, those 4 people have a century of experience, all of it working here at BRC. So we've promoted from within.
That's awesome.
I think more people ought to do that. Promoted from within, rewarded the people that were loyal to us, and made for a smooth transition where the values, the sustaining values that have made us what we are today, will be continued. We didn't sell out to Wall Street. Now, other people may want to do this a different way. God bless them. That's great. Everybody should find their own path that they're comfortable with. This was the one that made sense to me because it maintains our independence. We can still do what's right for our clients, for our people, and for the creativity in our projects. We can still do those things right, and that meant a lot to me. And best of all, I'm not going out to pasture. All I'm doing is now I get to work on all the fun stuff, and the briefcase is full of trouble.
Yeah.
I'll go home with somebody else every night.
Yeah, that's right. And that's when it's fun to show up to work every day.
That's why I have the time to talk with you guys.
Exactly.
Which is a lot more fun than whatever it was that I was supposed to be doing.
Timesheets? Somebody else can approve timesheets. Greg and Garrick are here.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about you today, and as somebody who myself have been in the business for 30 years, and I've known who you are, and I've done projects with BRC before, and today was a joy to hear your stories and to get to know you, and so thanks for your time.
Well, that's very high praise coming from the two of you. And attention, listeners, write these guys, tell them to interview each other. I think one of the things you don't realize is these two guys knew the answer to almost every question before they asked me, because you don't pull together a great podcast like this by just winging it. They pretend to. They pretend, but they've done their homework. They work hard at it. It's hard work. Let them know you appreciate it.
It's very kind.
Thank you very much.
With that, did you have any other questions, or are you?
No, I really wanted to talk about the NASA thing. When I was doing my research, that was the one shining. That was the beacon of we have to talk about this.
And I wanted to learn about the Academy, so I think we covered it, and of course talked about your book.
Selfishly, we talked about all the things we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, you know what? We travel a lot, and you travel, a lot too. So it also doesn't have to be the last time we talk. So let's.
Well, I've got lots more stories.
Well,
I'm not going to. You're going to run out of patience long before I run out of stories.
I find that hard to believe.
We pay for more time now on our subscription, so
yeah,
we can keep going.
We can do 2 episodes a week. Probably not.
Anyway, just to make sure that we're buttoning everything up, the website for the book is
either bobrogers.com or
deep-story.com.
The
But BobRogers.com, no D in Rogers.
Yep.
BobRogers.com is easier to remember. And you can buy it right now.
If you want to learn more about BRC as well, you can look up BRC.
BRCweb.com.
There you go.
BRC like Burning Rubber Company. That's not what it stands for. But BRCweb.com.
Fantastic. And thank you for your time. We also want to thank Dave Martin.
DemoDavePro.com.
We love that guy. Check us out at our website, rumandnerdy.com. That's rumandnerdy.com.
Social medias, we are at Rum and Nerdy, most platforms.
You can email us at show@rumandnerdy.com.
And
Love
you
to hear from
should,
you.
because Bob Rogers said you should.
He told you to. You are obligated to do this and force us to interview each other. I don't even know what that would be like. It's like,
That'd be a gas. Are you kidding?
yeah.
I'm already thinking of my questions.
Tell us about where you came from as a raccoon, as 5 raccoons.
Yeah, tell us about your sister and the Coca-Cola salesman. And this is Bob Rogers saying, stay nerdy, my friends.
Your first line is, my name is Claude. So just repeat after me. Je m'appelle Claude.
Je découpe plow.
Let's try it again.
Okay.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je déplie mlou.
Huh. It's not quite what I'm saying.
Really? Sounds exactly the same to me.
It does? Really?
Yeah.
All right, let's just try it again.
Okay.
Really listen.
Got it.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je te floop flee.
Oh, mon Dieu.
Oh, de fouf.